Hey there, thank you for waking up with Happy Ass, where we come together to grow in mind, body, and spirit so we can go out and make the world a brighter and sweeter place to live for ourselves and for others. And so this is part 2 of my podcast with my darling daughter. And so if you didn't catch part 1, go back and listen. But if you don't, it's not like a sequel. You'll be okay. But I just thought the name of the podcast was so cute. I got to say it again. And I didn't come up with it. You did. Anxious, empowered, and doing it anyway. That sounds cool. That sounds super cool.
Drama mom.
I know. I love it. I can be a little drama queen every now and then. But so we talked a little bit last time about mindset and how that plays into business and life and all those things. So I want to dive just a little bit deeper and talk about more in depth some of the things we talked about. And you talked about that some of your tools that you're using now, because it's no secret, you've been very vocal that you've suffered from anxiety and depression. And I think we've talked about this before, but my mother suffered from depression. My grandmother had a little bit. It skipped me for some weird reason. And I don't know if seeing it, I don't know. I don't know how it skipped me, but it did skip me. So tell me, what are those tools that you've been using and how your life has changed in coping with and even thriving with anxiety and stuff?
I don't have as much issue with depression now as I do anxiety.
Right.
Panic attacks have been something in my life since I was 9 years old. And various other things, which we will not get into because that's not the time and place for this right now. There's a whole bunch of co-occurring stuff happening. What is helping me thrive right now? First off, I owe it to you to say that if you're in a life-threatening situation, these are not meant to be replacements for true medical care. There was a time in my life where I needed to be hospitalized. There was a time in my life where I depended on pharmaceuticals to get to just a place of stability in order for talk therapy and other types of therapy to even be of value. So just want to make sure I mention that. Mm-hmm. Now that I'm further along in my practices, I go to therapy regularly. I did trauma therapy before that. I am very intentional about who I spend my time with, right? If you want to go to outer space, hang out with astronauts, right? So I am cutting out negative relationships. When I start feeling anxious, I have to take a quick inventory of my calendar, because most of the time, if I look at it, I know that self-care has been inched out, that I've let the panic and the urgency of everyday life, which, let's face it, most of it's crap. If you look at your calendar and there's no self-care on it, I can guarantee you that your mental health is suffering. Mm-hmm. So rather than putting self-care moments in after, when there's free, I try to get in the practice of putting that in first. So my therapy goes there, my creative time, sometimes I'm bad about that, but I try to I have a creative partner that we do music together. So I put those calendars, those appointments on the calendar first and then work other stuff around it. My working out time, it's a non-negotiable that I'm going to do something physical at least 3 times a week. So that has to go in there. At least one afternoon walk has to go in there. I am intentional about eating and not putting overly sugared or over-processed foods because it makes me feel bad. I don't drink alcohol anymore. So all of those things for me, what I used to do when I would say I worked hard and I played hard. Mm-hmm. Everything was level 10. I mean, you've met my mother. That makes sense. So everything was level 10. And so I would work really hard and then I'd come home at night and pour myself a glass of wine because, you need to relax, right?
Hard, yeah.
You worked hard and you're just going to relax. But then sometimes one glass of wine would turn into 2. And it started becoming this habit of you get this false sense of calm, right? This false sense of calm of oh, I'm relaxed, but not really, because then your cortisol shoots up. Now we have the data to show that no, that does not help you, especially us women as we get older. Our cortisol is already an issue. So you get this illusion of feeling calmer, and it doesn't really help. It actually made my anxiety worse. So, and sleep is a big thing for me. If I had a really amazing psychiatrist before the hurricane. Unfortunately, he had to quit his practice because of that. He decided to retire early. He taught me how important sleep was. And I would track my panic attacks, and lo and behold, every single time, if I looked at the calendar, I would notice a pattern that the panic attack always followed a period of a few days of sleeplessness where I didn't get quality sleep.
You know, that it's same for seizures.
Yeah.
My brother has seizures, and I just had to be at the hospital with him this past week. And the doctor said that one thing that will cause people to have more seizures is lack of sleep. Being too tired, lack of sleep. And we put rest after a while. And I have to admit, y'all, this is a confession in front of the world that I unconsciously did this to my daughter. I am an overachiever to the ridiculous degree. I used to think I will rest when I'm dead.
We've said in our household over time, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was a regular thing.
I used
no
to...
No pain, no gain.
Lunch breaks, those were for weenies.
No.
I used to
drink your protein shake while you're working.
You don't need to have lunch breaks. That's wasting time.
Yeah.
A vacation?
Ew.
A holiday?
Ew.
Who are you kidding? You've got Sundays was catch-up time. Will you admit that I'm very different now?
You're not the mom I grew up with.
I mean, but when you raise your children in a single-parent household,
no, Mom, I'm not.
You become. But you
no shade. I'm learning how to do it myself. But
I was horrible.
Passing changed.
Yeah,
you.
My husband passing away changed me.
Hugh changed.
I had already started changing when I was married to him, but his dying changed that about me so much. And I don't feel that way anymore. Rest is vitally, and I'm still super ambitious. I am like ambitious. I've got plans for
you can be ambitious about self-care. You can be ambitious about rest. One of my affirmations, occasionally when I need to hear it more, I write down is, today I'll remember that rest is productive too.
Oh, it's so productive. It's imperative. It's imperative.
And weightlifting taught me that. Shout out to my CrossFit coach, because just getting in the habit of weightlifting and being forced to rest in between sets, you realize how much more productive and how much more you can lift. And it became like a microcosm for like the bigger parts of life. And you're like, oh my gosh, yes, when I rest, I can actually do more. And that's kind of how I tricked myself.
And rest is when it's happening. Yeah. Rest is when the things are happening in our bodies, and so important. So I am different, and I have really changed over the years. You had something you want to say. I
want to go back to, talking about dealing with anxiety and what's helping me deal with it. I'm going to go back to the people thing.
Mm-hmm.
Me changing, if you're in an anxious environment, if you're with other people that don't put their mental health as a priority, you are going to become the environment that you're around.
100%.
It just is what it is, and there's no escaping that. It took me getting out of some negative situations to really see that in hindsight, but my home is a peaceful place. I have someone I'm dating right now who's very loving and peaceful and
very precious
and very just so encouraging to me. I have really loving, beautiful friends. I have artist friends that are encouraging, that I'm tapping into more of my creative friends. And that helps me. You got to be around people that are good for your spirit and that are kind to you. Like, when the partner that I have now sees that I'm getting anxious, one of the things that causes me anxiety, I'll shut down if I have too many choices. So if I'm at a restaurant and the menu is too big, I will straight up just shut down.
And you can't rush her either, just so you know.
I will just shut down, and especially if there's like lots of noises and stuff going on. And so if you have someone that sees that and tries to make your life better, this is just a game changer. So put yourself around people that care about you and are sensitive to your challenges.
Yeah, it's so true. And that is a perfect segue.
You're welcome.
For me to talk about some of the delightful, amazing sponsors who are sponsoring this podcast now. When I started all those years ago, number one, I never thought I would be able to ask somebody to sponsor me. So I just paid for it myself and I did all of it myself. And quite frankly, money was more free flowing back then. And I didn't think about it. And my finances were better attuned. Well, so I'm going to start there. I'm going to start with the finances. Financing has never been my most spiritual gift. So I have had to surround myself with people smarter than me, brighter than me in that regard. One of those people is Brian Yormack with Baytax. Amazing. I love him too. He's so funny. And have you met his
and passionate?
Have you met his adorable wife, Heidi?
Unfortunately, I've not met his wife yet, but
like you say, you hang out with people. She is precious. So back to what I was trying to say. So Brian Yormack with Baytax taught me how to do a cost segregation study for my building, saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. Hugh will be in the show notes. And speaking of people that are aligned with my values and things like that, I aligned with Kevin Kinnerson with Lending Hand Mortgage. Amazing. They are top notch. And this is something that I don't know if you know or not. Maybe you did. They do seminars and stuff and invite other people to come to them. And they're amazing seminars. So we're going to go. You and I we love an excuse to get out of town and do that. So we're going to do that. So thank you to them. And you got to eat. You got to eat. You got to take care of your finances. You got to make sure you got your banking intact and your mortgages intact, but you got to eat. And I was so excited that Kay called me. She wanted to be a sponsor, the Grocery Kitchen and Tap Room. And you probably knew this. Did you know that it was a real grocery store in 1928?
I'm going to be real with you. I did not know that.
It was that's why they have that name. Isn't that cool?
That's adorable. I didn't know that.
I know. I love it because we love words. So it's so cute. So they have great food. They have brunch on Sundays. So they are sponsors now. I am so thankful for them. And we'll talk later in the podcast about why my hair is so cute, my outfit's so cute. We'll talk about that later. So another question I want to ask you. We've talked about your anxiety changing over time. And what made you seek therapy in the first place? First, I'm going to say this. Therapy, you don't have therapy. I am so grateful for how people think about therapy now.
It's my performance coach.
It is, I know. I love it. That's what
I stole that from John Acuff.
John Acuff calls it his performance coach. I love it so much. But therapy now is not looked upon. It's looked upon as something smart that we do. Just like getting a fitness coach, just getting a performance coach,
like
all the things.
Health
so, I think you were kind of forced into it when you were younger. But as you got older, what made you know that therapy was the thing that would be the thing for you, that would help you?
That's such a wild question because it's not even something I even consider anymore. You're just like, of course I will.
That's a great answer. It's become such a natural part of our growth process now.
When you want to be better, you seek help. That actual accepting the fact that you can't do everything on your own, that vulnerability is the strength that you need to get better. Right? You have to go, who has what I don't have? Who can help me get there?
Mm-hmm. Well, you take responsibility.
Yeah.
You took responsibility for your own
frankly, when you make the same mistake over and over again and you're married 3 times, other things like that, you tend to go,
what is the common denominator?
What's the common denominator here? What can I do to change my life and not be a victim of circumstance?
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So, and I do love one thing that Ed Mylett says a lot. He says a lot on his podcast that the very thing that was your worst thing is that thing that you'll be able to help others with. And I love that you're very transparent, you're very authentic, you're very honest about your struggle there. You've not kept it quiet. It's not like you broadcasted it in a ridiculous way, because I know some people that do that kind of stuff, they're kind of overboard. You've done it in such an empowering way to help yourself and others. And I'm very proud of that, because my husband, who you'll hear I'm sorry, but you'll hear about him because he was the most amazing human that ever walked the face of the earth, as far as I'm concerned, Hugh Smith. But he was so honest about his addiction and about his alcoholism, because he felt like if he kept it to himself, that he would be keeping health and awareness from other people, and that was just wrong. So he was very honest. He didn't mind telling people he's an and things like that. So I love that about you. We talked on the first podcast about morning pages being one of the things you do. Now, I do the Miracle Morning, where I pray, meditate, write, read on it, and exercise. So it's called Savers: silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. So Savers, that's what I do on a daily basis. And if I don't do it, I can tell it. So tell a little more about morning pages. What are morning pages? And we learned that together.
Morning pages, asterisk, they can be any time of the day, but mine happen to be in the morning. That is a concept from Julia Cameron, who wrote the book, The Artist's Way, which I think everyone that breathes needs to get that book. It will change your life. So the concept of morning pages is within 45 minutes of waking up, while you're kind of in that stream of consciousness, before the urgency of the day gets to you, you just stream of consciousness writing, just whatever comes to your brain. You're not trying to win a Pulitzer Prize. You're just purging whatever's in your brain. So that is the first part. Well, I lie, you guys. The first thing I do is take my thyroid medicine. Then I go mosey on and get some coffee. And then I do my morning pages. But that is how I start my morning.
Same. I do it every day. And I've done this for a long, long, long time. I have preached for all my faults, and I have plenty of them. We won't go into that. But the one thing that I developed at a very young age because of adversity, because of things that had happened to me, was the ability to find the best in the situation. I'm really gifted at that. You may beat me on anything else in life, but you ain't going to beat me on attitude. And
you're a silver lining finder.
I will find, and I love giving grace to others. I'm trying to get better about giving it to myself, and I am better. But it's so important to me. But that morning time, that spending time, and when people ask me, what is the secret? That is the secret. And I think until you're willing to spend that quiet time developing yourself, you're going to miss out on some of the healing that could be available to you.
Nothing works unless you do, Maya Angelou, right?
Yeah.
It goes back to the push-up quote, nobody can do your push-ups for you. So I will say that you do have to give yourself a little bit of grace, because there's some days where, so yes, this morning when I went to go write down, so after morning pages, then I'll write like my intentions, affirmations, and then I read out of this little prayer book, The Quiet Mind, that Hugh gave me 20-something years ago. But I saw my intentions from yesterday. I'd only written down like 2 of them because I was like in a hurry and I was behind. So don't like down yourself. Like some days, some weeks I'm really good about it. And then some I kind of fall off, and that's okay. The next day you'll get back on. But one of the things that you can do, especially if you're not one to actually write things down, is when I'm in the car, if I was running late, if I go on a drive on my way to show property, something like that, I just say what I would have written down, and I say it out loud while I'm driving. So that's another thing that you can do.
I love your intentions. I love when you share them. And I'll be honest with you, I end up comparing I go, oh my gosh, Brittany's intentions and affirmations are so much smarter than mine. Because you're really good. You're such a great writer. You are such an amazing writer. It's pretty amazing. So the next thing I want to ask you is, we talked a little bit about this. It's kind of funny. You mentioned this in the very first podcast, so we won't stay on it too long, but I do want to stress it as such a main tenet of ours. It's kind of funny you brought it up. I said, why we believe business is not just business. which is if you come to work at our company, you will learn that very quickly. If you want to get my dander up or get my goat, as my mama used to say, you can say the word business is just business. It's not just business. Business is everything. It's how you do life. When you show up, the Karen that shows up to do business with you should be the exact same Karen in the grocery store, at the church, all the places. I'm not different. I may be a little quieter in church. And
have you met yourself on the golf course?
Yeah. Wait. Oh, God. Let's have a little moment of silence, y'all. Okay. I am better on the golf course, but if you want to see me mad, the place where you will find me mad is on the golf course. Yeah, I get mad on the golf course. I do. And I cuss a little bit on the golf course. I've even called you and asked you for some more creative cuss words through the years on the golf course. You helped me. I was actually aggravated because I found out when I was going to do my podcast, you and I were thinking about doing a business podcast, but I decided, no, because business is life. Life is business. I'm going to keep on doing my happy ass life because that's who I am. But my title was going to be Business as Unusual instead of Business as Usual. Barbara Cochran's already taken that. Can you believe that?
I thought, what's his name?
No, Barbara Cochran has that. She stole it.
She's your spirit animal.
I love that lady anyway. So I want to also ask you this. We talk a lot about this together. We take high level of responsibility as being business owners. We believe that with the privilege and the joy and the honor of owning our own business, we are responsible. Will you talk a little bit about that, about some of the things that we feel like we're responsible for in our community and with others because of that thought process?
Well, I think what has been impressed upon me growing up, and as I have stepped into business more, our business, everything is a spiritual appointment.
Yes.
So everything is an opportunity to love on people, to serve. And so it's not just about providing a job. It's not just about providing a paycheck, providing a service. Am I making that person's life better? Am I helping them get to that next step of where they want to be, whatever that is, and where they want to be? Not necessarily where I think they should be, but where they want to be. And I just think that's kind of a non-negotiable.
Yeah.
People over profit thing. And then the other stuff will come if that is the focus.
And that's why our mission statement is just one sentence. The only people we have to get even with are those that have helped us. And if I answer that question of myself, that's very important to me. I take it as great honor and privilege to be able to mentor and coach and teach the people that come into our company. And that is my favorite part. Because I don't really get excited about selling real estate. I hate to break your hearts, but that's not what moves me.
Well, that's just the vehicle.
Well, it's that absolute vehicle for me to be able to do what I do in my community. I also am a huge believer, and I know you believe this too, and you've believed it since a very young age, that we are responsible for giving to our community. That to live in a community means that we also give to that community. Absolutely. Of our time, our talents, our money, whatever it is that we have. I just can't sit back. And I love it when people sit back and go, they fuss about where they live. I go, well, then do something about it. I will say you can get good advice from people you don't expect to get advice from. My starter husband, believe it or not, said this one time. He was talking about people complaining to the Little League coach and stuff. He said the best way to get people to stop complaining is hand them a cap. Hand them a baseball cap. Come on, be a part of us. Help coach, help teach. So you have to be a part of things. So that makes me so happy. Before we end today, I want to ask you one other question, and then I've got to thank these precious sponsors. I'll make sure I love this. So what unexpected blessings have you gotten from a hard season? What's an unexpected blessing that you got from a hard season?
An unexpected blessing I've gotten from a hard season. Wow. Okay.
This wasn't practice, obviously. Huh?
The first thought that came to mind, I don't know if I want to share. I'm dating someone really kind.
Very kind.
And loving and encouraging, and who reminds me of you.
I know.
Who talks to me like I am so important, who believes I can do anything. I shared a text message that he had sent of just kind of cheering me on and affirming me with you. And you said, that sounds like Hugh. And I said, I know. And had I not, and I believe wholeheartedly because I met this person a while back, and I just have been continuing on my self-care and doing therapy and stuff. I know that if I hadn't worked on myself and hadn't been diligent about my own well-being, that I wouldn't have been in the place of wellness to receive the love and kindness. And I think I'm in the season of receiving. As someone who's a recovering codependent, you tend to wrap up your value into what you can do for others and constant doing and overdoing. But there's just as much honor in receiving. I want to believe that my Creator wants me to not only give love, but to receive love.
Absolutely, because you're made for that. And it's a reciprocity. It goes. I think that's a perfect answer, because mine was very similar in that we tease. I call him my starter husband, and he's not a bad guy. So let me just say that right now. He just wasn't the guy for me. God had a better, bigger plan for me. But what looked like a bigger, better plan was just devastation to me. I was devastated. I was physically sick. I was torn asunder. I could not eat. I could not sleep.
Forced cheese and crackers.
I was nauseated. It was awful. It was horrible. And I thought, how am I going to live through this? I was so devastated. God brought Hugh Smith into my life, and I'm thinking, what in the world? I mean, I got this human who was almost like a reincarnation of my mother because of telling me.
His handwriting was even the same.
I mean,
guys.
Oh my gosh. I mean, his handwriting looked like artistic calligraphy. He told me every single day how adorable, how wonderful, how precious I was. And he made me believe that there was nothing that I could not do. Just like my mama. So at the worst possible time of my life, in the deepest, darkest valley, God brought me the greatest gift of my life. And what I want people to hear is that gift is not gone. That gift, death cannot take that gift away. Nothing can remove that gift from my life. That gift is still ripe in me, and it's the thing that makes me know that I am put here to be a difference maker in this world and to change this world one person at a time. I'm getting excited because I'm so proud. But you can, out of the most horrific things in your life, can become the deepest blessings. But you got to be ready for them. And you do the work. You do the work through therapy, through morning pages, through silence, through time alone, through the people you hang out with, through the people you let influence your life. And so before I start squalling my eyes out, I really do have to thank the people that are making this possible. And I'm just so blown away because and I hope I don't keep crying, but I knew I had to.
Out, Mama.
I knew I had to reach out to sponsors, but I was embarrassed. I was scared to call people. And when I called Hugh Salon, they said, yes, absolutely. We would love to. And I started freaking out on the phone. I started just like screaming and going, oh my God, you really? And I'm so happy because, you know why my hair is so adorable? I love my people at Hugh Salon. They're great. They have great stylists, and I think my mama used to call it a beauty parlor, but now we call it hairstylist. Is that what we call it now, Britt? Is that it?
Someone got on to me because I said like dye my hair, and they're like, you're supposed to say color
your hair, whatever. Yeah, I've got to be classier, but they're great, and they're right down from our office too, so it's really cool. And so Hugh Salon, they're amazing. I mentioned in the first podcast that I had this adorable top that came from Amour Boutique, which I love, and you'll get to see more because I'm going to be wearing their outfits on my podcast. I think that's only logical. And as far as I'm concerned, shouldn't that be a tax deduction?
I mean, we'll have to ask people like Brian.
We'll have to ask.
I don't know.
It should be.
We'll see.
It should be.
The answer is we'll see. I'll tell my daughter.
Okay. We'll see. So thank you for these people that believe in me. I'm really grateful for them. I'm grateful. I had to buy new equipment. So Lucky's Pine Straw is providing the equipment for me because they believe in what we're doing. I've just got this group of kind, compassionate, loving humans who believe in this message. And I'm so thankful. If you want to know more about them, you can look for the show notes and stuff like that. Do you want to say any parting words of wisdom, Britt, before we wrap up this part 2?
I do not have any parting words of wisdom. I'm sorry.
Well, I've loved being with you. And I tell people all the time, and
I do have.
Okay, what is it?
Love is a verb.
Oh, it is.
And that especially means for yourself. When you feel unlovable, what is one thing that you can do to give yourself love?
Wow. I think that's a really good ending. And I think I will end as I always do by saying, be sweet, y'all.